Two shafts A and B are made up of same material. The shaft A is solid and has diameter D. The shaft B is hollow with outer diameter capital D and inner diameter capital D by 2. The strength of hollow shaft in torsion is dash as that of solid shaft. So is two shafts are given. One is shaft is solid one other shaft is hollow. So with the given data, we can say that the outside diameter of both shafts are same, and inside diameter of the hollow shaft is half of the outside diameter. And is asking the strength of hollow shaft in torsion when compared with the solid shaft. And here options are given. A is 1 by 16, B is 1 by 8, C is 1 by 4, and D is 15 by 16. And here the answer is option D, 15 by 16. So here you see strength of hollow shaft and solid shaft in torsion means the torque transmitting capacity of hollow shaft and solid shaft. So we know the formula for torque transmitting capacity of hollow shaft as pi by 16 tau d cube into 1 minus k to the power of 4, where k is ratio between inside diameter to the outside diameter of the hollow shaft. So here it is given inside diameter is half of the outside diameter. So we'll get k for hollow shaft is 1 by 2. And the torque transmitting capacity of solid shaft, we know formula is pi by 16 into tau into d cube. So this tau is same because made up of same material means the stress is same. So you can cancel this, and also diameter is also same. Means the outside diameter of hollow shaft is same as diameter of the solid shaft. So you can cancel these terms. The term remaining will be this one. So and here the substituting k value is 1 by 2. So when you simplify here, you'll get here 1 by 16. So 1 minus 1 by 16 is 15 by 16. So this 15 by 16 is strength of hollow shaft to the solid shaft in torsion. So option D is the right option for this question. And when we see the next question, when a thin cylindrical shell is subjected to an internal pressure, there will be option A is decrease in diameter and length of the shell. Option B, increase in diameter and decrease in length of the shell. Option C, decrease in diameter and increase in length of the shell. Option D is increase in diameter and length of the shell. So in a thin cylindrical shell, when it is subjected to internal pressure, so obviously we know there will be increase in the length and diameter of the shell. So option D is the right option for this question. You can see, so when the shell is subjected to internal pressure, the pressure will act in all directions. So if you see, so the length is increasing and also diameter is also increasing. So option D is the right option for this question. And when we see next question here, the shear force diagram of a simply supported beam carrying a central point load changes sign at its midpoint. Is right or wrong is asking, correct or incorrect. So option A is right for this one. Means when you draw a shear force diagram for a simply supported beam carrying a central point load, we'll get the diagram like this. So this diagram is changing its sign at the midpoint. You can see C is the midpoint here. So option A is the correct option for this question. Means correct is the correct option for this question. Okay, next if you see the next question, in a simple bending theory, one of the assumptions is that the material of the beam is isotropic. This assumption means that the normal stress remains constant in all direction. Option B, normal stress varies linearly in the material. Option C, elastic constants are same in all direction. Option D, elastic constant varies linearly in the material. So is given that in the simple bending theory of a material, one assumption, we know the material of the beam is isotropic. So the meaning of isotropic means the properties of a material will be same in all directions. Means this elastic constant also same means the behavior of elastic constant, or you can say the elastic constant values are same in all directions. So so that is the meaning of isotropic. So here the option C is the correct option for this question. Next, if you see the polar modulus or polar section modulus for a solid shaft of diameter d is option A pi by 4 d square, option B pi by 16 d cube, pi by 30, option C pi by 32 d cube, and option D pi by 64 d power 4. So we know, and here the answer is option B is the right option. So we know from the torsion equation T by J tau by R GT tau by L, J by R is called polar modulus or polar section modulus, and here J is nothing but polar moment of inertia, and the polar moment of inertia for a solid circular shaft is pi by 32 d power 4, where d is the diameter of the shaft and r is the distance from the center of rotation to the outermost layer, and this will be d by 2 for this case. So if in the right hand, when you simplify that, we are getting this j by r, which is nothing but polar modulus or polar section modulus, that is pi by 16 d cube. So option B is the right option for this question. And when we see the next question, the polar moment of inertia of a hollow shaft of outside diameter capital D and inside diameter small d is option A is pi by 16 d cube minus d cube, and option B pi by 16 capital D power 4 minus small d power 4, option C pi by 32 capital D power 4 minus small d power 4, and option D pi by 64 capital D power 4 minus small d power 4. And here the answer is option C pi by 32 capital D power 4 minus small d power 4. So here the question is asking the polar moment of inertia of a hollow shaft. So here in this previous question we have seen the polar moment of inertia for a solid shaft as pi by 32 d power 4, but for the hollow shaft it is pi by 32 capital D power 4 minus small d power 4. So this comes when you polar moment of inertia means moment of inertia about polar axis. So when you take cross section of the shaft, you will get circularly. So polar moment of inertia about ZZ means XX and YY if you take in the plane of circle. So the ZZ will be the axis of rotation. So moment of inertia about ZZ will be IXX plus IYY. So this option D is actually moment of inertia of circular cross section. So when you add this 2 times IXX plus IYY, we will get polar moment of inertia. So that is for hollow shaft is pi by 32 capital D power 4 minus small d power 4. So if you require any more clarity about this moment of inertia or polar moment of inertia for solid and hollow shafts, please refer my previous videos. Yes, if you see the next question here, the strain energy stored in a spring when subjected to maximum load without suffering permanent distortion is known as option A is impact energy, option B is proof resilience, option C proof stress, option D modulus of resilience. So he's asking the strain energy stored in a spring when subjected to a maximum load. So when subjected to maximum load, you can say that it is the maximum strain energy stored in the spring. So maximum strain energy stored in the spring without suffering permanent distortion or deformation means, so this deformation is within the limits or within the elastic limits. So we know the maximum strain energy stored within the elastic limits is nothing but proof resilience. So here option B is the right option for this question. And if you see here the other terms also, if you know, just resilience is strain energy stored in the elastic limits. Proof resilience is maximum strain energy. So the strain energy corresponding to the maximum load within the elastic limits is maximum strain energy. So maximum strain energy stored within the elastic limits is the proof resilience, and the proof resilience per unit volume is modulus of resilience. So for the given data, the answer for this question is option B, that is proof resilience. And when we see the next question, rectangular beam A has length L, width B and depth D. Another beam B has the same length and width, but depth is doubled that of A. So the elastic strength of beam B will be as compared to the beam A. So if you see, answers are given, options are given like this. Option A is same, elastic strength of B and A are same, or elastic strength of B is double than the A and 4 times than the A. Option D 6 times than the A. So when you see here, two beams are given, suppose rectangular beam. So I'm taking like cantilever beam. So for example, our explanation, something like that. If you see, so lengths are same and width also same is given. Width B has the same length and width also same, but depth is doubled than that of A. So when you take L is the length, B is the width, and D is the depth of beam A, and for beam B, length will be same, width will be same, but depth is doubled. Means if you take this, for A it is D, means for B it is 2D. So, and is asking the comparison of elastic strength. So elastic strength will be depends upon the section modulus only. Means when you apply the load, what is the load it can be resist within the elastic limits, or the load required to produce the elastic deformation. So anyway, the elastic strength of the beam is depends upon the section modulus of the beam. So we know section modulus of the beam is I by Y. We know it is for the rectangular beam. We can write it as BDQ by 12, the value for I for rectangular beam, and Y is D by 2, distance from neutral axis to outermost layer. So when you simplify, we are getting a section modulus for this A type of beam is BD square by 6. And here the same type of beam, but depth is doubled, means in the place of D we can write 2D here. So when you simplify here, like it is 8 BD cube and 12 means 2 6, and here it is this B will be, and this D cube and D will get D square. So anyway, you simplify, if you simplify here, you're getting 4 times of BD square by 6. So for A it is BD square by 6, for B it is 4 times of BD square by 6, means the elastic strength of B is 4 times the elastic strength of A. So option C is the right option for this question. And when you see the next question, if percentage reduction in area of a certain specimen made up of a material A under tensile test is 60%, and percentage reduction area of a specimen with the same dimensions made up of material B. So here a specimen 1 is made up of some material, that is A, X material or A material, and specimen 2 is made up of B material, other material. And here is telling that that in the tensile test, for the material A, means for the first beam, you can take first beam and second beam made up of A material, B material, means two different materials but same initial dimensions. So for the specimen A, there is a percentage reduction in area is 60%, and for material B, percentage reduction in area is 40%. This is a given data, and is asking options are given. The material A is more ductile, means from this data what we can say is asking. Option A is material A is more ductile than material B. Option B is material B is more ductile than material A. Option C, the ductility of material A and B is equal. Option D, material A is brittle and material B is ductile. So when you see the two specimens of initial dimensions are same, but materials are different. So A material, B material, and in the tensile test, the percentage reduction in area of this specimen is 60%, and percentage of reduction in area of this specimen is 40%. Means it is the diameter or the cross section area is decreasing more. So when the cross section is decreasing more, there will be length, more increase in length, you can say. So length is more, means when you apply tensile force, the length is increasing more, means you can say that material is having more ductility than the other material. So you can say from this the material A is more ductile than the material B. So option A is the right option for this question. And when we see the next question here, A body is subjected to two normal stresses 20 kilonewton per meter square, that is tensile, and 10 kilonewton per meter square, that is compressive, acting perpendicular to each other. The maximum shear stress is, so a body is there, and this body is subjected to uh, tensile stress in one plane and compressive stress in other plane which is perpendicular to the first one. So in this case the values are also given. This is tensile is 20 and this compressive 10 kilonewton per meter square. So in this case is asking the maximum shear stress the body. So the maximum shear stress is given by the formula sigma x minus sigma y by 2. Sigma x is 20 and minus sigma y is minus 10. Why? Because it is a compressive stress, so minus 10. So it is 30 by 2 is 15 kilonewton per meter square. So option C is the right option for this question. And when we see the next question here, when a cantilever beam is loaded at its free end, the maximum compressive stress shall develop at option A bottom fiber, option B top fiber, option C neutral axis, option D center of gravity. And here the answer is option A bottom fiber. He is asking when a cantilever beam is subjected to a load at its free end, so the beam will bend like this, and in this case is asking the maximum compressive stress shall develop at, so where at which location will get maximum compressive stress in this beam. So if you see if you observe here, when this cantilever beam is subjected to load at its free end, it will bend like this, and the top fibers are stretched or elongated, the bottom fibers are compressed. So from that we can say that top fibers are subjected to stretched, means the corresponding stress will be tensile stress. Bottom fibers are compressed, means the corresponding stress is compressive stress. And the neutral stress, we don't observe any stress. So from the neutral axis, when you go upward, you will get stress will be increasing, and outermost layer you will get maximum stress. So he's asking maximum compressive stress, means the bottommost layer will be subjected to maximum compressive stress in this case. So the option A is the right option for this question. And when we see the next question, when two shafts of same length, one of which is hollow, transmit equal torque and have equal maximum stress, then they should have equal polar moment of inertia, polar modulus or polar section modulus, diameter or angle of twist. So two shafts are given of same length. Those shafts, one is hollow, and one is hollow means you can say that one is solid. Those having the maximum shear stress is also same, tau is also same, you can understand like that. So in that case, so then they should have equal. So what quantity, what will be the equal, what quality, what parameter is equal for this case is the question here. So when you see from the torsion equation, we know T torque transmitting, or T by J is equals to tau by R. From that, if you write T is equals to J by R into tau, we know J by R is polar section modulus. So torque transmitting by a shaft is Z into tau. So for solid and hollow, if you write means here is given that they should transmit equal torques is given. So from that we have written torque of solid shaft is equals to torque of hollow shaft. So from this, once again you can write Z of S, tau of S is equal to Z of H, tau of H, and is given same maximum stress, means you can cancel tau S, tau H. Why? Because tau S and tau H are same is given. So from that, finally you can say Z of S is same as Z of H means polar section modulus for solid and hollow shafts are same, you can say. So the option B is the right option for this question. So for more videos, please subscribe and activate bell symbol. Also, please share my videos with your friends. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.